Good morning, Flosstube. Welcome back. Whoa, a little close there. This is a Stitch with me. My name is Daphne, and I will be working on this piece here. This is Game of Thrones. Let me just zoom out a little bit. You can see it a little bit. Working down here in this corner, and yeah, it's been a while, but here we go. Yeah, so it's been a little bit of time since I've done Stitch with Me's. Life has been crazy. Finally have a quiet moment in my house. So we'll just get, I figured I would do this now while it's quiet. And sorry for the bouncing, you're actually attached to the Q-snap, which is attached to my Lowry stand. I just gotta find a better spot to hook up the camera so it doesn't bounce around so much. But yeah, it's been crazy. In March, went up and got my dad in New Hampshire and brought him back, him and his dog. So that was fun. I spent, I think, 2 weeks back home, and drove 1,600 miles in 3 days. But other than that, it was fine. We had no real no issues or anything like that. Just, you know, by the time we came back here, I was ready to be done driving. It takes a lot out of you driving that many miles in that little bit of time. But yeah, other than that, that's just been getting settled into a new routine, getting some home repairs done, and all those fun things that you get when you own a home. And just been fitting in my stitching as much as I can. I haven't actually worked on this piece in like a month and a half. So I felt that today was the perfect day to actually work on this piece. Because have actually been missing it, missing working on it. Get a little snag. Alright, there we go. But other than, you know, that, it's just been quiet here. We don't really go out much. Yeah, that's about it. I got some questions that I'll answer that I found on the internet just to... Oh, another snag. Sorry for the bumping. Let me get those questions. We can get rolling with those. One of them was, were you ever a scout or a brownie? I was a brownie, I was a Girl Scout, and I was a cadet. I started at, I believe, the age of 5. My mom was my sister's assistant troop leader for a long time. So even though I was not old enough to be in it per se, I was the little mascot. So wherever my sister's troop went, and if my mom went with them, I went as well. Hang on. So one of the things they went to a Girl Scout camp, and they were showing the girls how to tie different types of knots, and such, and the instructor forgot how to do one of the particular knots, and I guess I went up and I took the ropes from this instructor and started to show her how to do the knots, apparently. So interesting. But yeah, we had lots of fun doing that growing up. The main troop leader, she always had something fun planned when we went out and did outings or camping trips. We would cook on the big metal cans like that the schools get for like peaches and applesauce and stuff like that. We would always do, not always, but we would do banana boats. Sometimes they would have us go into the woods and find our breakfast, which was just boxes of cereal, the little individual boxes of cereal just hidden around in the forest, in the woods. Other times we would bake in a cardboard box wrapped in tinfoil. That was always fun. And then we would also do this little game where we would keep our hands behind our back and try to eat the donut off the string. And we always had our chores each day, and they always changed, so not the same person would have to clean the bathroom every day. It was always rotating to the next person in line, and it was random too. But it was always fun. We enjoyed it. And we would do, our hometown would do a craft fair at Christmas time every year. And we would have our own table there every year. And we ended up making little ornaments and things like that to sell to help pay for activities and things that we wanted to do. And I'm not going to be able to get that knot out. So yeah, I was a Brownie, I was a Girl Scout, and I was a cadet. I had thought about, as growing up as now an adult, being like, I wonder if the area that I'm in, if they have any need for a Girl Scout leader, but I never did. I don't know, it's still something I think about, but we will see. And another question was, what did I want to be when I was younger? I always wanted to be a teacher. And I loved playing teacher. It was just, that's something that I wanted to do. I wasn't sure in what capacity being a teacher, whether it was like in a classroom teacher or what. But when I went to college, right out of high school, the school that I went to had an early education program. And that's what I did, and that's where I stayed. It was a 2-year school, so when I was done, I walked out with my associate's degree in early childhood education, and I did 4 semesters. I actually did 5 because I did a summer semester, but 4 semesters where I was actually in classrooms with the children, and I've always loved the babies. I've worked with all the ages, but the babies just were my thing more than the older kids. But I did work with infants for a long time. One of my jobs, I started with infants, and then I went to the toddler room, and then I was going to go back to the infant room, and they needed a preschool teacher for a little bit. So I went to the preschool classroom and worked with them for a little while, and then I went back to the infants, and that's where I stayed, and I loved it. Helping them to grow physically and mentally it's amazing, because you can send them home on a Friday not knowing how to crawl, and then they come in on a Monday and they know how to crawl. Helping them to get ready to be a toddler by getting them to sleep on a mat, transitioning them from the crib to the mat, getting them on that toddler schedule where, they're up with everybody until like 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then, just showing them how to be a toddler, and it was just so rewarding. And I'm not saying that any other age group is not as rewarding, but the infant teacher is your child's first teacher. We taught them how to hold their own bottles, how to feed themselves, and it's just a stepping stone for everything else. All the other teachers and things like that in their life. It was amazing. You make those great bonds with those families, because the families they are entrusting you as the first person to take care of their child besides them. For more than a couple hours. They're entrusting you for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. So it's pretty incredible, but very tiring as well. When you've got like 7 infants and they all need something all at once, it gets a little crazy, but you work through it, and you got a teacher, your co-teacher with you. So if you have a struggle with a particular child or children, you can always just say, you know what, I need a break, can you please take over with this child? And yeah, it's what I wanted to be a teacher when I grew up as a kid. Yeah. Another question was, or is, What movie have I watched repeatedly? Well, I guess, and I will still watch it to this day, but I guess when I was younger and we got to pick the movies, I, for some reason, always got to pick the movie. I don't know, maybe because I was younger, no idea. But according to my sister, I had always wanted to watch Annie. Excuse me. And to this day, it's still a movie that I would watch. I don't know what it is about that movie. Maybe it's because my mom was adopted. I don't know. It's just, I love the songs. I love Annie and Daddy Warbucks. So yeah, could be any number of reasons. But I mean, I can watch other movies. Pretty much any Disney movie, Disney princess movie, I'd watch repeatedly. Yeah, there's lots of things I'd watch repeatedly. Another question is, what's one thing you can't leave the house without? Well, depends on where I'm going. If I'm driving the car, obviously you need the car keys. But I try not to leave home without my phone. You never know when you're going to need your phone to, call for help. Let somebody know that you need help. Or to let your family members know that you arrived safely to your place of destination. Or to let the people know that you were leaving from, to let them know that you got home safe. That's just something that I've always done with my friends. Whenever I leave their house, I always sent them a message to let them know that I got home safely. Didn't matter what time of the day it was, or time of night. I'd always try to send them a message. When I try to do the same, have my friends and family do the same as well. Just so that I know if I don't receive a message by a certain time, then I know something happened or they ran into trouble. And then I reach out to them to make sure that everything is okay. Another question on this list is, your favorite hobby? I would have to say cross-stitching right now. I do other hobbies as well. Like, I do like to do a little bit of scrapbooking every now and then. I do knit and crochet, but currently it is just way too hot to do those here. So yeah, cross-stitch. I would hope it would be cross-stitch since I have this channel, right? Kind of wouldn't be good if you had a channel on cross-stitch and you didn't like it. Yes, I know some people get frustrated with their pieces. I did. I actually put one in permanent timeout that is not going to be worked on again. I'm actually going to reuse the fabric for another piece for somebody. So that does happen where you get frustrated with your piece. Totally get it. But this is what I enjoy the most. Out of all the hobbies that I've done, that I do, this one right now is the one that I put my most time into. The others are just on the back burner. They come out. If they don't, that's okay as well. You go through stages where you want to work on it, and you go all to town on that one particular, that one particular hobby, and then you just fizzle out because you've done so much of that hobby. Just marking off 1 second. So, and I think it's the same way with the cross stitch. I try not to work on the same project all day long, because if I work on the same project for, like all day Saturday, I'm not going to want to work on it again for a while. And that's not good because it would not get much attention. And I put all of my attention into one piece, and then I have all these other pieces that, I should be working on, and I'm not, and I feel bad. And I just get burnt out on that one piece. So for me, I like to just work on one piece for like 2 or 3 hours at a time, and then I put it away and I work on a different piece. So some days I could work on up to 3 projects in one day, depending on what my day looks like for that particular day. If we're really not doing anything, just staying at home, then yes, I could get about 2 to 3 projects in one day. This month so far, I got in, this would be my 4th piece that I've worked on. My 5th piece. Usually I have, 5, 6, 7 pieces a month that I've worked on. Just a little slower this month. I've wanted to work and get some good progress on certain pieces. And my WIPCO pieces have really called to me this month. One was a finish, one was 10 days, and I have, I believe, 4 more days left to do on that one piece. I set up my WIPCO this is my first time doing WIPCO. And WIPCO is a board, just like a bingo board, 5 across, 5 down, where you can put in your projects and what your goal is for that project. Whether you want to do it for a month, your monthly goal, when that project is called for that month, or if you wanted to work and say, okay, this is what I want to get done for the year on this project. And so it's 25 spaces. The middle one is a free space, and you can put a project in that free space or just leave it as a free space. And the month that free space is called, it would be the month that 3 numbers would be called. And it just so happened that in January, one of the spaces was the free space. So some people had 3 projects to work on, and some people had just 2, or however many they had. Because some numbered spaces you can repeat the same project in any of your spaces. So what I did is I put all my full coverage pieces on twice, and however many days I wanted, like one of my pieces is a focus piece for the year in a different group. So I need to work on that a little bit more throughout the year. So I said that I wanted to work on that piece every day in the month that it's called. And the two places that one particular piece is, those two numbers have not been called yet. So I'm kind of thinking that is going to be my luck, that particular piece and those two particular numbers are going to be called on the same month. So if that happens, I'm not sure what I'll do. I don't know. I know I'll get one of them done out, most definitely. And I might just say, well, alright, the next month, I'll throw some stitches in it and count those days towards the next block until I get, 30 or 31 days done until the end of the year. But we will get to that when that time comes. It'll just be what it'll be, and we'll go from there and figure that out when that's necessary. But doing the whip go, it's actually made me focus on a few pieces that probably wouldn't have gotten any attention on, because you kind of forget about the pieces that you have if you have, more than like 3 or 4 pieces, 3 or 4 projects, and it's fun. Like, in a couple days, Jessie Marie, she will pick the next 2 numbers, so it'll be interesting to see which two projects get worked on in September, which 2 will be the main 2 for the month that are left on my board. I'm trying to think of what I have. I think I have at least one more thing that I would like to finish. I think there's 2 more new starts on there. There's the 2 for my focus piece, which is one of my best friend's pieces. And that will be, and both of those are 2 are to work on every day throughout that month that it's called. I think this piece here has, another go on the board. I'm not sure what else is left. But it's just, this way I know I'm guaranteed the pieces that I put on that board are going to get worked on at some point during the year. Which is fun. I enjoy figuring out at the end of each month what is going to be worked on in the next month. I don't say, like, on Mondays I work on this piece, on Tuesdays I work on that piece. I just say, okay, well, today I want to work on this piece, and in one of the other groups that I'm in, if it fits one of the prompts, then I'll work with that. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. This month I think I've gotten one project that I have that I can tie into the movie and the prompts, which is fine. I mean, not every person has projects that fit every single month with every single thing, and I'm trying not to just start things that would fit in that prompt just to start them. It's just, I want to be able to, I want the pieces that I'm working on to, you know, bring me joy and be something that I want to work on, not just something that fit a prompt for a challenge. So, yeah, you know, we're gonna work on, whoops, this color here. I'm gonna get my red. So we're gonna work on this one here next. Just threading my needle real quick. Yeah, so like I said, it's fun to figure out what you're gonna work on for the month. You know, what projects you have slotted in. Oops, sorry. I keep bumping everybody. Really need to get a better spot for this, for my camera stand. Let me get another question here. Next question is, one of these questions is, what is your longest relationship so far? And that would have to be the relationship I had with my ex-husband. We met in March of 1999 and we got divorced in 2013. At the time, when you're going through it, you know, you don't see that it is, you know, okay and whatnot, or that it's for the best. You know, it really hurt the way it happened, but you look back at it and it's just like, okay, this happened for a reason. As sad as it is, that's what happens. Alright, we're just gonna park this. Right there. So that's next. Where I'm gonna work on that one next. Oh. Well, I guess I had that one twice. Right here as well. Nope. That's not. Oh, I skipped a stitch. Hang on. We gotta go back. Silly me. Right? Yeah. So, I skipped this one when I was doing it. I got chit-chatting. Not paying attention. I'll put a picture. There should be a picture on the top, on the screen, of what this piece will look like when it is finished. It's all the characters in the Game of Thrones. This is something that I have never seen before. Never watched the show. This is a piece for my boyfriend because he likes this show. And I never was really interested in watching it. And I'm sure some people are going to be like, oh my god, you've never seen it? Nope. Never have. It's just what it is. But that's okay. Not everybody watches the same thing as the next person. You know, everybody has different interests and things they watch and things they do. That's what makes us all unique and individuals. not, this is, I haven't seen this before. I know I could if I wanted to, but it just doesn't seem like a show that I would really be into. I'm more into reality TV than fantasy and things along those lines. Let me get another question here. One moment. What's one goal you would like to accomplish this year? I would just like to be, happy with where each of my cross-stitching projects are come January, or actually come December. But it's okay if the projects are not where they, I thought they would be. I didn't really set like goals for like number of stitches or anything like that. I just did my whip-go board as this is what I wanted to, these are the projects that I wanted to work on, and this is the amount of time that I wanted to work on them during that month. Or this is the amount of stitches. Like for my new starts, they were all my new starts were 1,000 stitches. I think that's pretty doable in a month. And there was 5 new starts. And I believe all the ones that I have started so far, I did get 1,000 or more in the month that they were called. So that's always a good thing. It's a good sign that I was able to get those in. So if I do it next year, which most likely I will, if I put new starts in, it'll maybe I can up that a little bit more. Not 100% sure if I will be putting new starts in next year. Just because I feel that currently what I have for projects, it's starting to get me a little overwhelmed with that feeling of, oh, I just don't know if I can get to these projects. I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to feel the pressure to make sure that I'm getting my projects done. There are no time deadlines on these. I do have one piece that I do need to get done. Because it is a gift. So I do need to get that done before the baby arrives. So that when the baby arrives, all I just need to do is put in the birth information. Excuse me. So, yeah, that's the only one that I have a real time crunch on. A couple of my pieces are gifts for friends, but they don't know that they are theirs. So I would like to hopefully finish those by Christmas so that they can have them as Christmas gifts. Excuse me. But we'll see if that happens. One of them is on the whip-go board and is a finish when it's called. And it's not that far off. It's got a couple thousand stitches, I believe, that are left in order to be finished. So that one should be should be able to be done when it's called, in the month that it is called in. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not big on goals right now, just because I don't feel like if I don't meet that goal, I would be disappointed. Currently, with everything that's going on, it's kind of, you know, my thoughts on that. You know, it is what it is. Just be happy is basically another goal. To be happy where I am, with what I'm doing with my life, and things like that. Just gonna wrap this back around the bobbin, as I don't need it anymore, because that's our face color. And just mark these off, and we'll do maybe one more color here. But yep. Alright, so we got 2 strands here. Here we go. I need this one. Gotta thread my needle. Then we can get stitching away again. And what is interesting with doing the stitching this way is, as I'm going down in the diagonal, I just see, you know, this lady's face is coming in. This gentleman's face up here, you can't see it, but his face came in. And it's just interesting to see as I'm working, you know, going down each diagonal, to see all the faces come in, or, you know, getting to the point where there'll be different colors. Because a lot of these diagonals right now is dark colors until you get to the face. And then it's light colors. And then you go back to dark colors. And then you go back to dark colors. I'm trying to find where this one goes. Hang on 1 minute, please. Right there. So yeah, it's fun. When I first started doing this method, I had been, you know, hearing about diagonal stitching on the internet, and I didn't know. When I saw one way, it was too, I couldn't wrap my head around the way that it was being shown. Like, this is not, my brain is not functioning, sorry. My brain is not wrapping around how this person is showing to do diagonal stitching. So I just kept, you know, watching other people, and looking at other YouTube floss tubers to see how they were doing it, until I came across this one floss tube that I was able to understand the way that this person was showing how to do the diagonal stitching. And at first, this person was doing, you know, in 10 by 10, in a row of 10 down, but she was showing it in, you do 1 stitch a row, 1 stitch at a time per row, is one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is you can do that color in that row, and then move to the next row. You can do it like I'm doing, where you just color complete within the row, within the diagonal. There are just so many different ways to do diagonal stitching. It really just depends on what you want to do, what you're comfortable with, and you just go from there with how you want to do it. I started out doing one row by row, color by color. And then as I was getting into the pieces that had a lot more stitches in them, it was just getting to be a lot. I'd have like, 50 strings hanging, and it was just too much. So then I switched over to doing it this way, where I do a color, one of two things. Either I'll do it until the string runs out, and then if there is more stitches, then I'll go and do the stitches that are I'll get another thread and do them and then park it. Or I'll do it to a certain point, and then I'll park it, or I'll end it. If it's too far to park, I'll end it, and then I'll just start another color. Maybe do 100 rows of this color until the thread runs out, and then if it's not until further down the diagonal to the end of the diagonal and you're at the top, that's a little too far to travel, so I'll just end it and then, or park it in the top of the next diagonal and go to the next color, and then pick up that color that I stopped when I get down to the point where that color is in the diagonal. It's just, there's so many ways to do it that you just gotta find the way that works for you, that works best for you. So it's like I do cross-country stitching, but it's cross-country within the diagonal, if that makes sense. I don't cross-country through the page, I just cross-country through the diagonal, which is okay, I don't mind. Yeah, it probably makes my back a little bit thicker, and the piece a little bit thicker in general, but I like to be able to see some progress. Since I only do like 3 hours each time I pull out a piece, I want to be able to see some progress. Even if it's just, scattering of stitches, at least it's something in that time. Did I just put that in the wrong spot? I think I did. Gotta frog it out, as I put it in the wrong spot. There we go. But yeah, this fabric is 28 count, I believe. And I'm doing it 1/1. Full cross. I don't know if I would be able to do a whole entire piece with just tent stitch. I have this fear that as I was stitching, I would forget that I was doing tent stitch and start doing full crosses. That's just something that I think that would end up happening to me. I would have to really be focused and make sure that I only do the one leg of the cross. Because like I said, I just think that I would end up forgetting partway through and end up doing it. and having full crosses. And I understand that it would go quicker for some full project pieces, full coverage pieces, but I don't mind doing full crosses. I kind of just zone out. As I'm stitching, I'll just be sitting here stitching. Like this morning I was stitching, not paying any attention to my counts of how many stitches from using Pattern Keeper. I was just going to town, and when I stopped before switching to this project, I looked at that Pattern Keeper and saw the number of stitches, and I had done almost 500 stitches. Granted, that piece right now is in a lot of blocky color, or the colors that are, there's a lot of color, but they're spread out, and it's the last 5 rows of the pattern all the way across, so that's going pretty quick in general. So I'll move these threads a little bit out of the way so you guys can see. Excuse me. I filled in this black here and the black over here and some more black here, and we got some more stitches done in her face. These are my parked threads that are in this diagonal, this diagonal here. And yeah, I'll zoom you guys out so you guys can see a little bit. So I'm done stitching for right now. So these threads are all parked in the spaces for the next diagonal, and all of these little pieces that are still tied down in here are my waist threads. So what I'll do is, like this one right here, since this is going to be in the way in the next diagonal, I just snip it off, and that's done. I'll go through and do that once this face is done and these little pieces here are done. I'll go all the way up and go all the way through the next diagonal and make sure that there are no waist threads in the way, so that when I start the next diagonal, then I can just start stitching away. I gotta cut this thread from when I started, and that is how I do my stitching on my pieces. That is it for today. We got 160 stitches done, and I will continue on this piece for a little bit longer this afternoon, and I will chat with everybody again in a couple days when I do my next update video. So until then, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and a wonderful week and a wonderful rest of August. And if your kids are back to school, I hope they have a great year. And if they haven't gone back yet, and they're going back before I get the next video, I hope that they have a great first day or first week and a great year. Alright, we'll talk to you guys all later. Bye everyone.